What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. We're back after a short hiatus. I missed my buddy last week. It was so sad without him. That's okay. We're back. We're going to talk news. I've got a quick question before we get going for you, though. Have you considered just accepting that you're poor? Is that something that you're okay with? Because we've got advice in from, the elites, and they'd like you to accept that you're poor. So we'll discuss that and maybe consider it. We'll take it under advisement. But nonetheless, this is live. Anything can happen. I defer to my friend Bill here.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
If you have not already, like, subscribe, share, all those things help a ton getting this content in more eyeballs. And I want to give a shout out also to everybody over at Simply Bitcoin watching this Simply session. But I am Ben with the BTC Sessions. This is your daily session.
HODL the Bitcoin.
Before we bring in our long-lost brother Nico, we're going to take a look at where we are in the market right now. This is TimechainCalendar.com. We're sitting at $29,653 per coin. A single US dollar will pick you up 3,372 sats. 92.18% of all Bitcoin have been mined. That's 19.36 million of them. And in terms of holy Jesus, 50 sats per byte next block. Is that legit? Good Lord. Hold on. I got to pull up mempool for that one. Good God. Did somebody just, no, not even somebody just fat fingering their sats per byte. Yeah, 44 sats shown on mempool here. But nonetheless, be aware. If you're looking for a quick transaction, it's going to cost you a few additional sats, or just use Lightning. Maybe get going on Lightning. Anyways, if you're willing to wait a little bit, 38 sats per byte. What's the mempool look like? Well, it's fuller than it was before. 376 megabytes worth in the mempool. So there are transactions being purged, anything below 3 sats per byte. So just be aware. Quick shout out to sponsors of the show, HodlHodl.com. If you're stacking sats and you're looking to do so in a way that allows you to peer-to-peer trade, that allows you for instant self-custody, and that doesn't require any KYC, then HodlHodl is for you. You can log in and sign up with nothing more than an email address and be trading non-KYC sats in a few minutes. It's super easy. Choose your currency, choose your payment method, choose your amount, and start looking at offers right away. They also have a lending platform in which nothing is ever rehypothecated. Again, check them out. Show notes down below. Up next, of course, when you stack those non-KYC sats, you're going to want to secure them in the best damn hardware on the market. I love my Cold Card Mark IV. Everything that CoinKite puts out is fire. I love it. They've got a ton of great stuff. Tap signers, sats cards, block clocks, open dimes, and coming soon, the Cold Card Q1 looks awesome. It'll be out later this year. You can reserve one now if you like. Head over to coinkite.com. Use code BTC Sessions. You get 5% off everything in the store. Now, if you're looking to go beyond single sig options and you want to get into multi-sig, maybe like an assisted multi-sig, Nunchuk has a killer option in the Honey Badger product. So basically, assisted multi-sig, they'll hold one key for you, be your backup signer. And then they have baked in inheritance planning. So you have that peace of mind knowing that your sats are going to get to your next of kin. Super easy to set up. All over mobile, works beautifully with things like the tap signer and the cold card. It walks you through every step of the way. One of my favorite things about it is the fact that you don't require any KYC for this either. Separates it from other options on the market. You can set it all up, don't need any private information, and you can still have that peace of mind knowing that your funds are secure and they're going to get where they need to be if anything happens to you. So check them out, nunchuk.io. And finally, the legends at Start9. Start9, your sovereign computing solution. I love these guys. Again, I love my embassy that I've got kicking around here that is running and purring on the shelf behind me. You can set up your whole Bitcoin stack with this Bitcoin Core, Lightning Node, mempool.space, join market, all kinds of great Bitcoin options. You can also back up and host your own data, passwords, files, photos. You can even run Nostr relays, Nostr clients, all kinds of awesome stuff coming out of Start9. So check them out. Start9.com. Your Embassy One is the entry level, and Embassy Pro is if you want to start hosting everything on that thing. You can check out my tutorial as well. Quick shout outs to our Boostograms here. I'll read a couple quick ones just off the top here. Cryosats, Stay Hard, Stack Sats, Spread Signal. Cliff, $5,000 for that lineup. Had the pleasure of meeting James Hetfield Lavish in Bedford last week. So that was I had a killer panel last Friday. Very stoked about that one. You on Nostr? Heard there was something called a NIP05 to find people easier. I'll send you my nips if you give me your nips. Maybe at the same time we can touch tips, hashtag send nips from Joey. Do you know what the best thing about Bitcoin going down is? The other than stacking more sats per dollar, the fact that BTC is also going down. No, not Bitcoin. I'm talking about the Benico touching tips ceremony. Hashtag BTC going down. Hashtag touch tips tribe. I can't believe I didn't stumble over those words. Again, cryosats. Owen, Burning Man analogy was fire. Again, we were talking about a lot of different stuff over the last little bit, but I'm going to get Nico in here because we need to discuss something. It's of the utmost importance, buddy. How you doing?
Good, man. I'm excited, but I also have butterflies.
It's happening, man. It's official.
We're gonna touch tips on South Beach, bro.
We are
ready to go.
We are. It's fully come to fruition. Like the meme is real. It's happening. We have a date. We have a location. We have a page for it. Should I bring up the page? Dare I?
That's a good idea.
Okay, let's all appreciate my artwork for a second. Okay, so I had this nice backdrop I made in like an AI generated image of Miami Beach, and I had like us nicely like sat there beside each other and like all the details in the image and everything. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this. Let's blow up our faces giant and just fill the screen with the tips touching.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening.
It's happening. So tell me, okay, so we're going to a venue. What's the place? It's that's a good question. So it's Bitcoin Grove. It's in Miami Ironside. It's this very, very cool venue. And Roz, the guy behind it, the organizer, I got involved like after the fact. Like when I saw what he was doing, I was like, yep, I'm a part of this. I'm involved now. But basically he looked at what Odell and Rod were doing in Nashville with Bitcoin Park. And he was like, look, Miami needs its own Bitcoin Park. And there's a very famous part of Miami called Coconut Grove. So he called it Bitcoin Grove. And this is going to be one of the first ceremonies held, I think, if not the first ceremony held at the Bitcoin Grove. So I'm super pumped. If a single tip touches before we get there, I will burn that place to the ground.
Mind you, I also spoke to Yellow, and apparently once the tips touch, Bitcoin goes to 100K.
I mean, let me just read what's going down here. So I basically said join hashtag Benico for the long-awaited touching of the tips. BTC Sessions and Nico from Simply Bitcoin are coming together in Miami prior to the Bitcoin 2023 conference. What's happening? Nico will have a strip of his hair dyed blonde by the lovely Mrs. Sessions. A live Simply Sessions news show, or what are we going to do? A new show?
We'll figure it out.
Okay, there'll be some sort of live thing happening. We'll do a thing there. We're also going to do some giveaways. I got some gear that I'm going to bring down and give away. I mean, I don't want to spoil what the prizes are, but we'll do some sort of everybody throw your name in a hat, and I got some goodies. I've got some excess goodies because I am hosting a workshop down there, so there will be surpluses, and I think that it would be good to let people win some of these things. So, and then of course, luscious golden locks shall combine and possibly create a god candle, the likes of which Bitcoin has never seen. And then we can have a few drinks and enjoy each other's company.
Go ahead.
My favorite part here is upon successful hair dye treatment, the two streaks shall come together as and be as one. We will touch the tips, result in a massive price pump. Is this part of Yellow's prophecy?
Oh my God, we
Was
said
this
the same
the trigger
thing.
that Balaji foresaw for his 1 million price prediction? No one can say for sure, but you can be damn sure that attending will make you part of the Touch Tips tribe forever. Come join us at Bitcoin Grove. So this is, and I guess I didn't even put like an idiot, I didn't put the date right here. But anyways, it is the 16th, which is the Tuesday.
Yep.
Tuesday.
Yep.
And I just put 1 o'clock. Is that doable for you?
That is, it's locked in. It's locked in. Yeah. Yeah.
Locked in. Okay, it's happening. All right, I'll put in those details. But anyways, if you guys want to find this page, you can go to btcsessions.ca/touch tips. It'll take you right there. So it's limited space. There's we can handle about 30 people. So yeah, you can grab a ticket here if you like, and yeah, win prizes, come watch a live show, all that good stuff. And we'll just hang out, have a bevy. So yeah, btcsessions.ca/touch tips. And yeah, you'll find your way there. So dude, this is going to be exciting.
I'm so excited to touch tips with you, bro.
The feeling's mutual.
I could have never have imagined this if you would have told me many years ago.
Hashtag winning.
Hashtag winning, bro. This is the full circle of Bitcoin content creator. If you don't end up with a streaked part of your hair, you haven't made it yet.
Yeah. What are we even doing? Let's redecorate and get ourselves going here. Boom. Awesome.
Boom.
What should I be pulling up here? Where do you want to start today?
Let's start with the fact that central bankers hate us, and they just like to spit on us and just say, you guys will own nothing, be happy, just face it. You're worse off. And then the ECB has their propaganda basically saying it's the workers asking for more money that is the cause of inflation. You dirty peasant. How dare you ask us? Misinformation. Anyways. So, New York Times headline, central banker to Britain's, you're worse off, accept it. The comment from the Bank of England's chief economist was offered as a way to curb inflation, but the message has fallen flat. This is real.
People didn't take kindly to somebody saying, just accept that you're poor, guys. If you don't accept you're poor, you're going to get more poor.
Dude, this is trash, man. Look, I think Walker, Carla from the Crypto Couple's husband, his initiative with pushing the fact that New York Times is a waste. There you go. There's the embodiment of it. This is a real headline.
Freeze died for this.
This is a headline. That's nuts. Okay, anyways. The Bank of England's chief economist has a harsh message for Britons. Someone needs to accept that they're worse off. The economist Hu Pill said on a podcast that there has been a reluctance by workers and companies in Britain to accept that they were poor, primarily as a result of Europe's energy shock. Mind you, of which governments are responsible for also for pursuing green energy policy, not to mention the fact of their stance on the conflict that's going on in Ukraine, right? So it's like all of this is government cause, of which the inflation is caused by the money printing too. So it's like it's always deflection. It's like it has nothing to do with us. You have to accept the fact that you're poor. And on top of accepting the fact that you're poor, we also want to be able to see exactly what you're doing and what you're saying to anybody. This is a article from No BS Bitcoin. It says UK's online safety bill takes aim at end-to-end encryption. So not only do they want you to be poor and to accept it, they also want to know what you're talking about as well.
They want to know if you're becoming less poor because they need to crack down on that immediately.
Oh man, dude, I'm laughing and I'm giggling, but like, holy crap, this is nuts. This is crazy stuff. Thank God for Bitcoin, man. That's what I gotta say. Thank God for Bitcoin.
100%, dude.
Oh man.
It's a perfect setup for like a bunch of Bitcoiners getting together though. Like the headlines that we see nowadays. I mean, this is why Bitcoiners are smiling so much, because we're like, well, I mean, we've got the remedy right here.
Yeah, and people don't know, right? They're still asleep to this, and you know, in a way, like I'm thankful because that means I have a job. Because there's these headlines. Without the headlines, I don't think I would have one. But at the same time, it's total clown world. Anyways, 7 secure messaging apps, including Signal and WhatsApp, wrote an open letter out that the UK's online safety bill. I love that it's always under the Inflation Reduction Act, the Patriot Act, the Restrict TikTok ban, the online safety bill. It's always under the guise of like, this is good for you. No, it's not. It never is. Anyways, quote, as currently drafted, the bill could break end-to-end encryption, opening the door to routine, general, and indiscriminate surveillance of personal messages of friends, family members, employees, executives, journalists, human rights activists, and even politicians themselves, which would fundamentally undermine everyone's ability to communicate securely. And of course, you know what the government's response is to this? We would never do this. What about the Twitter files, bro? Did anyone forget about that? And that happened in a country that explicitly is the First Amendment, like speech is protected, and it still happened there. Yeah. Like this is, I don't think anyone deserves this type of godlike power. And they also want you to trust you with central bank digital currencies. And they also want you to let you know that accept it, you are poor and it's not our fault.
The Twitter files. Now, I haven't heard of those because they haven't really been reporting on that. I was totally unfamiliar. So
it's a conspiracy theory, bro. It's not real.
Yeah, of course. Good Lord. Okay, well, let's jump. Where from here? What shall we? Is there a video you'd like me to pull up, or am I jumping the gun here?
There is a video. But first, I kind of want to take you down memory lane, right? So, you know, this is crazy. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, came out. She did an interview with Jen Psaki, who is the White House press secretary, on Friday. Mm-hmm. And Tucker Carlson, who, and the reason I'm talking about him specifically was because he was the only member of the legacy corporate media that publicly supported Bitcoin. He's had Michael Saylor, Nayib Bukele, Max Kaiser, Marty Bent on his show, and he averaged 3.5 million viewers per episode. Here is a tweet of Nayib Bukele saying they can't eliminate Tucker Carlson, so they will try to smear him, censor him, and get him off air. This was crazy because he said this months ago. And then Tucker responded. And this video of which he responded with got, I think it's up to 22 million views. And just to kind of give you a frame of reference of what the average after post Tucker amount of episodes in that time slot, it was 1.7 million views. So even with Tucker unemployed, you know, doing his thing in his own home studio, he's still absolutely destroying the ratings. But anyways, so you put the Bitcoin stuff aside, right? Like, why is it that corporate media wanted to take down this guy so badly? And I put together a montage. I put together some clips, Ben, and then maybe it's self-explanatory. I don't know. Well, let's see what everyone thinks.
Take a look.
Regulation in terms of what's allowed on air and what isn't. And when you look at what Tucker Carlson and some of these other folks on Fox do, it is very, very clearly incitement of violence. Very clearly incitement of violence. And that is the line that I think we have to be willing to contend with.
But part of staying safe, it's come out in public and say the things.
Yes.
It's, it's harder. I mean, they have done it before with a lot more important people, so they can do it, of course. But they have many enemies, not one. They have a lot of people calling these things out. They have been censoring all of these people because it's easier to censor than just go and eliminate every person saying bad things about them. It's too hard. They cannot. So a part of staying safe, I think, is going public, being transparent, and being say the things that and you want to say, and that you think that they must be said. And I mean, they haven't done anything to you, and that's because you're saying the things you want to say, and it would be too expensive for them. It's cheaper for them to smear you, to say bad things about you, to have people think that you're a bad person, which you're not, but it's easier for them to do those things. Go and straight and eliminate you, that would be, too messy, and it will probably be against their own plans. So I really think one way to stay safe is being true to yourself and saying the things out loud, so people can, listen to them, make their own decisions about it, and know what you stand for. So it would be a little more expensive for them to eliminate all opposition in front.
You have to kill a lot of people.
Exactly.
So you've made the most compelling case I've ever heard for the need for something like Bitcoin. So you're saying, just to make sure that everyone's following this, the whole point of Bitcoin is to escape the inflation vortex that has consumed all these previous empires.
The point of Bitcoin is to fix the money. And money is energy, and energy is life. And if I keep sucking the energy out of the economy, I'm sucking the oxygen out of your system. Either, under the best case, you perform poorly. Under the worst case, I suffocate you to death or freeze you to death. That's the problem. That's why empires collapse. That's why economies collapse. And the problem, it's not just a problem for an individual. It's not just a problem for a family. It's a problem for every institution. It's a problem for every company. It's a problem for every city, every municipality, every government, every civilization.
Like, I've spent my whole life in the media. My dad was in the media. Like, that is a big part of the revelation that's changed my life, is the media are part of the control apparatus. Like, there's no, I know, because you're younger and smarter and you're like, yeah. But what if you're me and you spent your whole life in that world, and to look around and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow. Not only are they part of the problem, but I spent most of my life being part of the problem, defending the Iraq war. Like, I actually did that. Can you imagine if you did that?
Well, what do you think? What is one of your biggest regrets in your career?
Oh, defending the Iraq war.
That is it?
Well, I've had a million regrets, not being more skeptical, calling people names when I should have listened to what they were saying. Look, when someone makes a claim, there's only one question that's important at the very beginning, which is the claim true or not? So I say, you committed murder, or you rigged the last election. Before you attack me as a crazy person for saying that, maybe you should explain whether you did it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for too long, I participated in the culture where I was like, anyone who thinks outside these pre-prescribed lanes is crazy, is a conspiracy theorist. And I just really regret that. I'm ashamed that I did that. And partly it was age, partly it was the world that I grew up in. So when you look at me and you're like, yeah, of course they're part of the means of control, I'm like, that's obvious to you because you're 28, but I just didn't see it at all. And I'm ashamed of that.
Isn't that what the media tries to do, though?
It's their only purpose.
Right.
They're not here to inform you. Really? Even on the big things that really matter, like the economy and war and COVID and like things that really matter that will affect you. No, their job is not to inform you. They are working for the small group of people who actually run the world. They're their servants. They're their Praetorian Guard. And we should treat them with maximum contempt because they have earned it.
Oh, spicy.
And that's why they fired him.
Might be a good part of it, yes. Ooh, yeah. Well, that's, yeah, like, I mean, it is nice to see somebody be like, yeah, like I towed the line for a while and like defended things that I now realize are bullshit. So that's refreshing to see. Like, I don't agree with everything Tucker has or like every idea that he entertains. In fact, like nobody should ever agree with any one person on everything always. But you know, it is nice to see somebody like push back on both extremes of the news circuit and be like, listen, a lot of this, if not most of it, if not all of it, is kind of bullshit, and there are incentives at play here.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, I think the significance of it was he was the second most popular broadcaster currently in the world. Like after, obviously, he got fired, but he was behind Joe Rogan, 3.5 million average viewers per episode, and he was a proponent of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Right? If you put his personal political beliefs aside, it's completely irrelevant to, you know, this war that we're currently fighting again, like fighting through. Just the orange versus green war. Green being the central bank digital currency, slavery; orange, Bitcoin, and freedom. And he was on the side of freedom. And I think that's why they ended up taking him down. I think, and, you know, again, put the political things, and I could care less. But the fact that he was highlighting very predominant mainstream Bitcoiners, like Michael Saylor, and they were talking, Nayib Bukele basically saying the Federal Reserve is a scam. Inflation is a scam. You know, you need Bitcoin, right? And he said at the very end of that podcast, and he's like, look, there's a very powerful group of people that run the world. And if you tie Bitcoin into this, Bitcoin is a threat to that, you know? So it's just interesting to see that play out. Now, the good news, though, is I think that the internet is really putting the corporate media and us independent content creators like yourself, Ben, and it's creating this equal playing field, right? We all remember the BBC interview with Elon Musk. We all remember how the New York Times tried to fact check the riot video with Pierre Richard. Enough of the community fought back that we got it removed. Then it was like a bunch of, you know, news, you know, including the Canadian broadcasting thing. They got upset that somehow Elon basically said that they are partly funded by government, even though they are funded by government. You know, and then here's a tweet by Elon Musk a couple days before Tucker got fired. It says Twitter is a serious danger to their ability to control the narrative. Here's Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's running as a Democrat for president. Says Fox fires Tucker Carlson 5 days after he crosses the red line by acknowledging that the TV networks push a deadly and ineffective narrative. I'll leave it at that. Right. So yeah, man, look, I think this is the continuing disintermediation of information, of which the internet started that fire. And then Bitcoin comes along and with a gallon of gasoline and just puts gasoline on that fire. And I think that fire is freedom, bro. And I think that's really what we're seeing here. We're seeing, you know, their mechanism of controlling the narrative start to break in front of our eyes. And no matter how much they try, you know, it's not going away. It's not going away, man. I think this is just the beginning.
This dude, honestly, I love watching in real time people try to be gatekeepers, and the internet, Bitcoin, and social protocols like Nostr just route around them like water, just flow around the roadblock, and it's of no issue. And it's happening quicker too, because as they try to block whatever they feel like blocking, whether it be transactional or whether it be speech, people are coming up with solutions, and these solutions are now becoming easier to use. And even if they're more difficult than legacy infrastructure, the more difficult they make it to say what you want to say or transact how you want to transact, the more compelling the use case is for the alternative, even if it takes a few more hoops to jump through to learn. So yeah, I'm bullish as fuck on routing around tyrants.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so glad that you brought up Nostr. You know, Nostr's a great example, right? I went and tried, I Nostred something. I guess that's the word for it, right? And then I figured, I was like, oh, I spelt this wrong. Let me go and delete it. Nope. Nope. You know, so it's there forever. You know, it's, oh, man. Anyways. So on a different tune, there's another video. This is the second longest video, so it's not as long as the Tucker video, but it's the one of Jack Mallers speaking at the Bitcoin Policy Institute's Bitcoin Policy Summit in the Imperial City in Washington, D.C. And there was two tells that Mallers said, and I'll let you guys, you know, we'll watch in a second, Ben. Mm-hmm. He basically said the quiet part out loud. He said, look, if you don't conform to this, if you don't accept this, I'm going to move. And Bitcoiners can move, right? And I think that's a harsh reality for bureaucrats and politicians that have been operating under this jurisdictional monopoly that they've had for decades and decades and decades, where it didn't really make sense to go overseas because there was no opportunity. But now that there's the internet, look at what we do, bro. We could do this anywhere on the anywhere on planet Earth.
I right? do this anywhere on planet Earth.
Exactly. So it's like we're not really confined. Like we're staying here because of familiar roots, obviously our family or whatever. But if push comes to shove, really, like if they push us a little bit too far, what are we gonna say? Yeah. We're moving to El Salvador, right? Like I'm gone, right? And Jack Mallers said this to a bunch of very, very predominant politicians. And I thought that was really interesting.
Let's take a look.
Superior technology actually benefits the American individual. And now I think we need to very, very seriously talk about the strategic opportunities for us as a nation and the security risks, quite frankly. If you're going to sit here and tell me that the internet is not core to our nation's security risks, I'm going to move. So, you may have heard that Bitcoin is not crypto. Hopefully my presentation made this a little bit more clear. Again, I think a really good framework for reference is that Bitcoin acts as public infrastructure, not a corporation. So there's no development team that you're waiting on a feature. You know, there's no fundraising marketing team that would make the coin go higher. It acts as a public utility. It's digital infrastructure. So it is not crypto. It can help stabilize our energy grid. It can offset excess energy. It can incentivize energy use that is very difficult to otherwise. It can help facilitate industrial development. Ooh, sorry, I'm losing track between the laptop and the screen. Oh. Okay, sorry. Are we good? So give me a thumbs up. Yep. It can provide, I think no one talks about this enough, a new source of national wealth for America. National wealth is categorized as produced capital, human capital, reserve assets. Think about the source of wealth that the internet provided this country. The iPhone was created here, Facebook was created here, Twitter was created here. I think it's very important that people that own Bitcoin, a lot of it, and people that build on top of Bitcoin very well pay taxes in, where's Cruz, Texas, and not Dubai. I'm being very serious. And it strengthens geopolitical influence. These are important points. So you may have heard a lot of this. Hopefully my presentation helps give you a reference on how to think about this more deeply. What I want to leave this room with is the payments aspect. What I think the US government needs to very, very seriously consider is both how Bitcoin's power can be harnessed and leveraged as a digital public utility, similar to the internet, for national security interests. This technology can't be uncreated. China and Russia will be using this in 1 to 5 to 10 to 100 years, whether we like it or not, and that's okay. But we need to think about it, and we need to think about it correctly and responsibly. And then I think we need to think about how the payments technology can fix material distortions in our country. And again, I could be wrong. I'm not giving advice. I'm clearly very biased and passionate. But just as an exercise as Americans, this is our duty to not only our country, but to the free world.
Dude, I mean, he was really, really fucking aggressive.
Yeah.
He threatened twice. I'm going to move. You want Bitcoiners to pay taxes in Texas and not Dubai. China and Russia will use this, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
Get on the train or get left behind. That was a very, very aggressive message, but it's true. Like, it's like, it is what it is, you know, but I could see why, you know, some of these power hungry bureaucrats, you know, they don't want to swallow the orange pill, bro. They're just like, fuck that. No, there's no way we could stop this thing, you know? So I don't know. What do you think of it?
I mean, I thought it was great. Jack is always, every time he talks, he's able to kind of knock it out of the park in a very concise way. It's funny because like the contrast in demeanor a little bit can vary from like I'm at a Bitcoin conference versus I'm on CNBC versus I'm presenting to a bunch of politicians. And I think it's just in the level of F-bombs. That's the primary, that you're like listening to that. If there was no like indication of where he was speaking, you'd be like, oh, probably to politicians. He did. I don't think he said fuck once.
Dude, that is so funny, man. Oh man.
But yeah, no, that was great. I mean, again, he's putting it in a way where you're right, it's aggressive, but he's not he's holding their feet to the fire without seeming like he's trying to threaten anybody specifically. He's more saying like, here's the consequences of the actions of not considering this and partaking in it. And the consequence is I'm going to move, taxpayers go to buy, and you know, your biggest adversarial countries will be using it and you will not, and you will not be able to stop it. All true. It's
all true, man. And it's like you either adapt to this new reality or we'll leave. Like that was basically the language, and I love that. And it's so true, you know?
Yeah.
I just hope it doesn't play out that way.
Yeah.
So anyways.
I agree. Awesome. How are we doing here? I got a few minutes here. What do you want to touch on?
Let's do, okay. I think this story is worth it. Let's do this one, 'cause I think this was a very big deal. Okay. So let's talk about the IMF. So the IMF included this clause, and this was March 18, 2022. And basically in the clause, they would say that we would give you the bailout, the government of Argentina. However, you have to de-incentivize the adoption of Bitcoin. So it says Argentinian senators just approved $48.5 billion bailout deal with the International Monetary Fund on Thursday that will help the country avoid an imminent default on its debt. But that's not the unusual part of the agreement. The deal, which was approved 56-13 vote, includes a wild provision that will force the government of President Alberto Fernandez to take a tough anti-cryptocurrency stance. The clause was included in a letter of intent signed by Economy Minister Martín Guzmán and Central Bank President Miguel Pes on March 3rd. It details Argentina's efforts to discourage the use of cryptocurrencies with a view to preventing money laundering, informality, and disintermediation. At least they're saying the quiet part out loud, in order to, quote, further safeguard financial stability. Okay, that was March 18, 2022. Fast forward till today, Argentina is currently enduring 104% inflation. And something that would have protected Argentinians from that 104% inflation would be Bitcoin. But these crazy, can I swear on this?
You can say whatever the fuck you
want.
These
crazy motherfuckers, literally, they wanted to force people to be poor. Who is behind the IMF? What type of evil is behind the IMF? And mind you, this is the same IMF. Take a look at the date. January 26, 2022. IMF urges El Salvador to remove Bitcoin as legal tender. What was the reason? Because it would threaten financial stability. Well, let's look at what happened to El Salvador since they adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. It had record GDP growth since they started literally basically accounting for this since 1966. Has the lowest homicide rate since they started accounting for it in 2010. And in Argentina, that accepted the bailout, for financial stability, destruction, poverty, despair. Who the fuck is the IMF? They definitely don't have our best interests at heart. These people are demonic. They're evil. How could you say they're not evil? The exact opposite happened. The exact and it was under the guise of financial stability. It is for your financial stability. And then this reminds me of Don't Drink the Elite's Kool-Aid, which is an article that Nayib Bukele wrote for Bitcoin Magazine, and it explains exactly why, obviously this was going to happen, and then kind of connect the dots with Tucker, basically going against the grain and saying things on legacy corporate media that he shouldn't be saying. And anyways, it goes on to say the most vocal detractors, the ones who are afraid and pressuring us to reverse our decision, are the world's most powerful elites and the people who work for or benefit from them. They used to own everything, and in a way they still do. The media, the banks, the NGOs, the international organizations, and almost all the governments and corporations in the world. And with that, of course, they also own the armies, the loans, the money supply, the credit ratings, the narrative, the propaganda, the factories, the food supply. They control international trade and international law. But their most powerful weapon is the control of the truth. And they're willing to fight, lie, smear, destroy, censor, confiscate, print, and do whatever it takes to maintain and increase their control over the truth and everything and everyone. So yeah, man, fuck the IMF. They're not about prosperity for all. The IMF is for the IMF. What they did was beyond criminal. Could you imagine if the government didn't have those programs in place that would allow people to escape 104% inflation by fleeing into Bitcoin, by rolling out a program saying, hey, look, here's an alternative. No. They would rather want the whole country to go down in flames and the people go along with it if it means they retain a semblance of power. Yeah. And El Salvador, once they try a viable alternative that's a threat to their power and control, what they're doing is a threat to financial stability. They have no legitimacy to stand on anymore. It absolutely disgusts me what they're doing. And Alex Gladstein has been doing an incredible job exposing the bullshit and the lies and the misrepresentations going out of that archaic, evil institution.
Dude, he just dropped his new book, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
It's all about this. It's all about this kind of fuckery going on. Also, you fired up the plebs with your motherfuckers.
Dude,
everybody's.
Oh, man. On Saturday, I was losing my mind, bro. I don't tweet that often, but I was like, what the fuck are these guys doing? What are they doing? This is insane.
Siva says, IMF, idiot motherfuckers. And I had to chime in. I've had it with these motherfucking central banks and this motherfucking fiat currency. Samuel L. Jackson, probably.
Oh man. The streak is already coming out, bro.
Oh, I can see it. It's
coming out.
It's coming. Yeah. Yeah. Rave. Nico just went full Wolverine. I love it, man. I mean, again, we got the remedy. That's the thing. It's just unfortunate that there are these insidious organizations that want to make it as difficult as possible for people to get that life-giving orange pill.
Yes. Yeah. And it's absolutely disgusting, but this is what it's all about. This is the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. We will win. Yeah. Incentives are stronger than coercion, but I think the transition is going to be bumpy, but I mean, that's what you and I, Ben, do that's what we dedicate our lives to, right? Is just getting the message out there, winning over the hearts and minds, and really waking up people to the fact that, hey, perhaps it's not the opposing political party causing your woes and economic hardships. Perhaps it's the fact that the money that you're using is stealing from you. Yeah. Fix the money, fix the world. Anyways, Ben, sorry for taking a little bit too long today.
We're set, man. Thanks. Dude, I'm excited. I'll be seeing you next week for another, and we'll be seeing you in Miami in like a few short, like 3 weeks, less than 3. You will already be flashing your hair flare 3 weeks from now.
Oh man, I'm so excited. Anyways, bro, it's always a privilege and honor to come on the show. This was your Simply Sessions. Peace out, bro.
Everybody. See ya. Awesome. Everybody, thanks for sticking around. Let's chat a few more things before we sign off here. A couple things that come to mind that I wanted to share with you. Number one, I had a session with a couple dudes the other day. Just a private one-on-one session, and a couple of guys that are basically pushing for local merchants in where they are in Mexico to be able to accept both on-chain and Lightning Bitcoin payments. They're in the midst of setting up their BTC Pay server and all this stuff. Anyways, if you wanna lend them a hand with liquidity, if you're already running your own Bitcoin node and you figure that you could spare a channel, then yeah, go take a look at my tweet. I just sent it out prior to the show, and yeah, these guys would love, if you can open a channel with them, that'll help them a lot in their mission. Yeah. Anyways, go check them out. Stoked to see them grow. A couple more things. Oh, sorry for that little bit of there. Anyways, I did a couple tutorials this week. Number one, actually, this is from the week before, but we didn't have a news show last week. But I went through a tutorial on how to set up your own self-sovereign zaps on Nostr. So if you're using Nostr, a lot of times people will use something like Wallet of Satoshi or Albi or whatever it may be to do their zaps, to do their transactions. Well, I show you how to set up your own Lightning node. You don't even have to have hardware for it. You can do it through Voltage, and then link it to your Nostr account, and then you can receive, whenever you get a Lightning transaction, it goes directly to your own Lightning node. So I went through that in that tutorial. Next one, I'm sure there'll probably be sound initially. There we go. Okay, yes, indeed. I go through the Uncle Jim setup, if I can get a picture of me not looking like an idiot here. Anyways, oh yeah, of course. Okay. Anyways, I went through the Uncle Jim setup with your cold card, learning how to do BIP85 derived addresses. So what is that? Effectively, you can take your cold card, you can take your one main seed, and then from that seed, you can create 10,000 separate individual derived seeds, meaning there's a master seed. And from that master seed, you can create and recreate any of those wallets at will. They're all completely independent. If somebody compromises one of the child seeds that you create, there's no way to work backwards and compromise the parent seed. So it can be like one seed to rule them all. You can create your hot wallet seeds, savings, air-gapped accounts, different things for like multi-sigs. And then in particular for family, if your mom needs a seed phrase for her hardware wallet and you want to be like a third backup for her, she has her device and her seed phrase, but you're worried she might lose both, you're the third line of defense. So yeah, you can go through, create seeds for whatever purpose, and then you just have a singular backup in the device and your regular seed phrase, and that's it. Anyways, recommend you check it out. I think it's an excellent tool in your toolbox, and I only wish that it had existed when I had started, because that's probably how I would have laid out my stack, because then I would have a robust backup setting. But I wouldn't have to worry too much about keeping track of a million different seed phrases for different uses. Anyways, check that out. Tomorrow, we've got Why Are We Bullish? We've got Austin Craig, which if you ever saw, there was an old movie that they were working on, him and his wife, and they were living on Bitcoin doing road trips around the US. And I think that was like 2014, I want to say 2015, somewhere in and around there. Anyways, this is the guy from that couple. So anyways, he's going to be on. We've also got Peter St. Onge. I think I'm saying his last name right. Anyways, he's been all over Twitter. He's been killing it. And then we got Plate Liquor coming out of the TO. He's a fellow Canadian, and he's helping out with the Canadian Bitcoin conference, which is coming in July, or June rather. Very excited for that. Anyways, all of them going to be on tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Do not miss it. Now, we were talking about Miami. It's coming up so quick. Holy crap. I think it is 3 weeks from today, 21 days until Miami. I'm going to be getting in a few days early, of course, lots of stuff going on. But yeah, this is my 4th time going. I'm stoked. It's so much fun. It's so awesome to be in the presence of Bitcoiners for an extended period of time, be able to just hang out with Bitcoiners at the drop of a hat. It's amazing. Coming down with my wife. There's a ton of speakers there, like 15,000 attendees, 2,000 companies. It's going to be crazy. So if you want to make it down there, b.tc/conference, you can still grab tickets. Tickets go up again, I think, in a week in terms of pricing. So you can use code BTC Sessions for 10% off your ticket. That should at least knock off a good chunk of the ticket cost. But anyways, yeah, be sure to check that out. And the events happening down there. We just mentioned Touching the Tips. It's happening. That's May 16th. It is the Tuesday before the conference, so a couple days prior to the conference. You can head to btcsessions.ca/touchtips. And you'll be able to grab tickets for that. We can only handle about 30 people, but it'll be a good hangout. We're going to do a live show, all that good stuff. And then I've got my cold card workshop. Holy crap, that's going to be awesome. May 17th, that's the Wednesday. It's from 1 to 5 p.m. We got space rented out. There are 3 tickets left for this bad boy. We're going to basically walk you through becoming an expert in the cold card, everything, including BIP85 that I just mentioned, but the basics, starting from scratch, all the way through learning to do your first air gap transaction, backup and restore your wallet, all that stuff. It's going to be there. You can find all this stuff over on my website, btcsessions.ca. You can book me for private sessions there. You can do the in-person workshops. That's where the Miami stuff is. And yeah, it's all there. It's all there. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, like, subscribe, share. All that helps a ton. You can hit up the previously mentioned sponsors down below. That is HodlHodl, CoinKite, Nunchuk, Start9. They're all down there. And if you really liked what you saw, you can always drop me a Bitcoin tip at my tip page, btcsessions.ca/tips. There's a little tip button there if you don't want to type all that in, but it'll take you to this page. And you can choose. You can choose your own adventure, or you can, buy me a coffee or help keep my note on, or whatever you want to do. It's all there. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. And I will see you guys next time for your daily session.
We have BTC sessions. Bitcoin is FU money. You can't stop it. Get yourself some Bitcoin and hold it yourself. Peer-to-peer exchange. People are going to organically come to it and gravitate towards it, especially in the world we're living in now. It's incredible. It's a great tool, and I can't wait to see it proliferate everywhere.
HODL the Bitcoin.